So what does it mean to be a high value man? Number one, let's just start with the very basic. What does it mean to be a man? Isn't that like a crazy thing to just start with? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? How the hell we're on like this conversation of what those are. But let's just start from that basis, because in order for me to define what a high value man is, I want to first define what a man is. So let's define what is a man, right? Anything outside of this definition that I'm about to give is a little boy. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much money you make. Anything outside of what I'm about to say right now is not a man. It's a little boy, right? And you can act however you want to act. You could, chop off some skin off your forearm and, sew it up, whatever the hell you end up doing. But this is what makes a man, okay? Understanding the foundation of what a man is a patriarch. That is the foundation of what a man is. So what is a patriarch? Okay, and again, how somehow that's even a trigger word, like destroy the patriarchy, all this feminist bullshit that's been happening there. The fact that we're even having this argument is absolute insanity. It's insanity, right? But what is a man? What is a patriarch? Okay, patriarch, if you were to understand the very root of the word, patriarch. Patri means father. Okay, it means father, but more than father, it means he who is responsible. Okay, and arch just means head. Okay, so if we just break it up into the Latin root, patriarch, right? This is the most foundational principle of what it means to be a man. If you're a man, it means you're the head and the provider. It means you are responsible for others. You do not become a man in any society, in God's eye. You do not become a man until you are responsible for other people. Okay, that's number one. First and foremost, let's just get it out of the way. You got to have like the XY chromosomes. You got to actually be a man. Okay, you were born a man, you're a man. Okay, but really you're born a boy. Let's just get that out of this way of this gender thing. But what does it mean to be a man? A man means you are responsible for others. Whether you actually become a father, a father by having children, right? Whether you are the head of a business, whether you become responsible for somebody else. That is when you become a man. Now, the level of value of man is what we're discussing here. Off that foundation, that's what it means to be a man. So what does it mean to be a high-level man? A high-level man lives in the most fullest sense of what it means to be responsible for others. As a man, you are responsible. It is your duty as a man to protect, to provide, right? To teach, to build, to create. That is the power of a man, right? We carry our power as man, a true man who carries his power on his shoulders because we place the burden upon our shoulders as men. So a high-value man is responsible for more people, has taken on greater responsibility. So sometimes, and that's why all these little boys want to talk about what it means to high value man. You got to make a lot of money and have all these bitches after you. Wrong. They're looking at the overall what is the outcome of a high value man, but that's not what makes a high value man. You can fake that shit. You can have those things and not be a real man, right? Let alone be a high value man, right? So yes, when a man is responsible for others, typically looks in the form of, he's in a form of leadership, whether it's in church, whether it's in, spiritual, whether it's in, in any form, but a lot of the time that takes form in business. You take on, as a business owner, you take on not only responsibility to make enough money to pay my own bills. When you're a business owner, when you actually do something at a high level, you take on the responsibility to not only make enough money for myself, but those underneath me, those who choose to follow me as a man. Their bills, their money becomes my responsibility just as much as my own. So a high value man, yes, and a lot of times, the overall output of a high value man looks like they make a lot of money. But it's because they have taken on the responsibility and the duty to be a man and to take on a greater responsibility for others. A great man lives up to that responsibility. A high value man lives up to that. So, number one, it can manifest in the form of business. It can manifest in the form of church and spiritual leadership. Any form of leadership, right? It can also be made manifest as a father figure. You have children, right? And you have children and you end up raising those children to raise their own children. So you become a grandfather. Honestly, the highest value of manhood is to be a grandfather, to generate generations. That is the power of creation. That is the highest form of manhood, is to be a father and then to be a grandfather. Again, break down the word grandfather. To be a grandfather, like to be a master versus being a grandmaster, to be a grandfather is a higher form of high value manhood, because not only have you raised, children and protected them, you raise them to be responsible to have their own family, so you become a grandfather. So the highest value of man is actually through generation. It's through the family is where we actually measure the highest form of manhood, right? So what is a high value man? A high value man holds responsibility, duty, and leadership over others. And the more burden that a man can bear, the higher the value he is. Again, sometimes that makes manifest in he makes a lot of money and he's successful sometimes. But those are just the exterior appearance of what it means to be a high value man. So other people who want to fake they're high value men act like that's who they are. And so they think, oh, I get a lot of women and I'm attractive. Bullshit. Because there is a form of imitation, right? There's a difference between creation and imitation. True geniuses create. True men build and create. Others just imitate. And there's so many of these, cucks out there who want to act like they're a high value man because they can dispose of bitches at will. Fuck you. You have no idea what it means to be a man. Just because you can stick your dick in extra places does not make you a man. It does not make you a man. And also, just because you're making money does not make you a man. To what extent are you fulfilling the duty of being responsible for others? If you're going to tell me that you have a child, and that child you rarely see because you've abandoned the child, you are the parent, you're the father technically, but are you really the father? This is why the greatest and most heinous sin of any man is to abandon his child. It's the greatest and worst thing a father could ever do, a man could ever do. You're not a man if you abandon your child. If your child, barely ever sees you, just because you've, inseminated more women, right, does not make you a man. It's the fullness of a high value man to take the responsibility of being, again, responsible for, to bear the burden, to raise up, to lead, to create order, right? That is what it means to be a high value man. That is what it means to be a patriarch. So if a man is a technical father, say, oh, I'm a dad. It's like, okay, well, so you could have achieved a level of manhood, but have you achieved a level of high, or what we would call higher laws, right? Have you lived to the fullness of the higher laws of what it means to be a patriarch, a man? What does it actually look like for you to be as a father? You only see him every now and then? Or have you invested your life and your will into raising up children, right? And now if someone else is doing the raising for you, you're not a high value man. You're a pussy. That's the whole idea. If you abandon your family and your children, you are the biggest pussy ever to walk the face of the planet. There's nothing more disgusting than a man who abandons his child and his responsibilities. You're no man. You're barely a boy. You might as well transition to the other side at this point because we don't want you. You're no man, right? And a man, again, all these things come down to duty and responsibility because a man is a true servant. A man is a leader. So that is what it means to be a high value man. None of this bullshit of, oh, you could be a high value man, learn how to dress in a suit. Get fucked. You can dress up in your suits with your G.I. Joes, bro. Yeah, okay, you might dress nice, but a higher man has the mentality of responsibility, of dignity. So, yeah, it might manifest in how they carry themselves and how they dress, but that is not in of itself what makes you a high value man. It is a part of the manifestation of who you are. But if those are the anecdotes, don't even talk to me about what it means to be a real man. A real man is a patriarch, a leader, someone who has duty and responsibility. That's a high value man. If again, it's all about intention, right? Why are you making the money? Because you want more puss? Really? That's your whole vision of your life? You are so small. Small. I'll look you right in the eye and say, "You're a little boy. Don't talk to me about you just want this is this." Maybe you want those for a reason, right? And maybe those are small details, but if that's the main reason, you're a boy. You're the most selfish piece of shit I've ever seen. You don't call yourself a man. You don't know what it means to be a man. You can't call yourself something if you don't even understand the meaning. That's why I think it's more important to actually really talk about what it means to be a man as a patriarch and understand what a patriarch is. So people talk about the patriarchy. Yeah, this is a patriarchy. Yes, this world is built on patriarchy because men are the head. They're meant to bear the responsibility of the burden. They're meant to wear the shield that protects the family. And men have failed. Men have failed at this, and that is why there are so many problems in today, is because men have become weak. Men have lost the vision of what it even means to be a man. That's why it's so important that men like, Jordan Peterson and all these people actually speak out what it means to actually be a man. Because number one, there has been a lot of fathers, quote unquote, who have failed to teach their sons what that means. Right? And on the flip side, there is also a matriarchy. Matriarch, right? The head of the matriarchy is the mother. So we can talk about what it means to be a high value woman just as much as we can talk about what it means to be a high value man, right? And it applies to what we were created for, who we really are, and understanding that and understanding our greatness. Because when you understand your greatness, you understand your responsibility. And when you understand your responsibility, you understand that doing things just for the purpose of doing them to take care of yourself is average and mediocrity, and it's the most selfish thing you'll ever do. Just like you said, the most selfish thing you'll ever do is be average. Just do enough to take care of yourself. And most of the time, a lot of men just do it because of the social pressure of what I would look like if I didn't go to my job. That's your reason. Probably because you're so scared of what other people think of you. That's why you have a job. That's why you provide for your family. Or is it because you see the sacred responsibility of being a father, a patriarch? And that's what men need to start understanding. That is the highest form of order. That is the higher laws. And that's what we're talking about here, is the higher laws, not the lower laws that govern, this world. We're talking about the higher celestial laws that God has deemed, to be not only sacred, but our duty and responsibility of who we actually are.